Right, namaste and welcome. I hope you guys are doing safe and planning the new year like myself. A lot of positive vibes out there now in terms of astrological predictions for the year 2025, or let's say psychic predictions for the year 2025. I have a lot of things as an update for you. So it's going to start from you have a mix of good, bad, and ugly news, of course. So let's say we are going to start with the positive negatives and mix and match of everything. Let's stay with that. So I have like around 12 quick points to cover, and this is like a short video where I'll be talking through all these points slowly. So let's take the first and the most important one. For the first time, there'll be again specific growth around a lot of layoffs that you see. It's not really great news to share. We have seen continuous over 156,000 layoffs, if I'm not wrong, in terms of approximate numbers across 2024. It was pretty much similar or more or the less similar number in 2023. You are going to continuously see that being rising again and again. And the shift, there is basically AI which is driving all these layoffs, and most of these layoffs, I would say, you will see that the shift will move from AI across different industries again. So you will see this going slowly into pharmacy, clinical trials domain, biosciences, biotechnology, anything to do with healthcare and vaccine production in general. That's going to be the case that we're going to see 2025. This is going to be predominant between March to September or November, I would say. But there is again a risk of war, which I'll be covering as a next point again throughout May of 2025. So let's go to the next point from here. My second point is around again recession. So there has to be, of course, recession across countries, which I'm seeing as a big threat in Europe, some part of Western nations as well. The biggest takeout for all that I'm saying today is the fertility crisis. I'm calling this whole 2025 year as a fertility crisis leading up to a stage of economic crisis. So when I say fertility crisis, there is a global trend that we are seeing across different nations like South Korea, China, Russia, and to some extent few more other countries as well. We are seeing a predominant spin where people are not wanting children. Japan, to be specific again, like because of the obviously the hyperinflation, the kind of lifestyle they may have. There are multiple reasons, pros and cons of each factor there. But basically, there is an infertility crisis that we are seeing. It's going to build up sooner or later next year, specifically around November, September timeframe 2025. And it's going to continue throughout the year, which is not a great thing to see. It will slowly lead up to a stage of economic crisis because there'll be less of production in those countries, and accordingly there'll be less of consumption of goods and services, which is going to basically kick off recession, in other words. So that's point number two, or three, I would say. Moving on to point number three, there is a risk of virus that is building up across the globe. We may see a new virus emerging April 2025 sort of a time frame, which can be at its peak in May 2025 again, which is basically again tied up to my fourth point, which is like there will be more unrest and wars. We could see some silence or period of silence or some sort of compromise between Russia and Ukraine. US and Canada is due for elections, so or at least a new government change next year. So you will see that specifically US will poke nose into multiple of these things with Donald Trump being in power most likely. So a lot of wars could be change is their course of action, and Russia and Ukraine war is of course one of them. We are next point again here is point number five will be there'll be a lot of reforms globally that we are going to see across the year in terms of most to do with developing nations like India, Southeast Asia, in terms of a lot of legal reforms, property laws, and even the relationship sort of laws are going through a tough reform stage, which is going to be sort of they're trying to grow up from there. And again, a relational aspect is point number six, which is like an unfortunate news to share with you, but I wanted to be transparent again that you are going to see a lot of breakups next year. This year is again going to be a lot of Mars activity, so there'll be a lot of anger between relationships, be it commercial, emotional, marriage, and even partnerships in general about your life partner, if you will. So you will see a lot of breakups, a lot of cheatings, a lot of divorces across the globe. This is a growing trend. which is basically mean that the good part again here, a positive thing I would say in terms of being optimistic there, is that you will see a lot of interfaith marriages. So you will see a lot of international marriages. There is a growing rising sentiments in terms of anti-immigration laws, or against immigration laws in West and most of the other part of the world that we see across India. So India has this Rohingya and Bangladeshi problem going on. US has the Middle Eastern and other problems going on, and likewise, the other Canada also is facing much on the similar lines, and Germany has been vocal. Europe has been vocal about it, right? So these things are going to continue for a long period of time, and you will see this whole anti-immigration crisis folding into multiple unrest, civil wars sort of situation, basically halting of businesses and nothing great as such. But the most important part that I wanted to cover here is the relationship part, which is like when the relationships are impacted, the good part is people will look out for international partnerships. You'll see a lot of more bloggers, more Instagram profiles with, cross faith marriages, cross national marriages sort of thing. So that will be again a great thing to watch. And these are the things which will be growing. So, but in terms of how they perceive each other, the lack of trust will rise, the lack of dependency on one specific cultural aspect will be low. You will also see a lot of religious angle. The books I have given that in my previous predictions again. So you will see a lot of religious books being sold like anything. They'll be read through. People will want to pursue spirituality. People will want to pursue just psychic things, just occult casual things. And of course, with related to my previous point around recession, there'll be market crashes. The stock markets are bound to crash. May is the toughest part across the year, where there are 6 planets aligning into one Rashi, I guess mean Rashi, which is Pisces in other words. So watch out for May 2025, which is like 17 May, 19 May, 25 May kind of a situation, which is mostly signing towards a World War III, I would say. If we pass through that safely, that will be again a period of little silence and okay from there. But that the next year is about wars, period of Mars, and mostly May is very very crucial. So if you're planning your travels, you have to be a little careful with what I'm trying to emphasize here with May 2025. Another point I have is around Bangladesh crisis that you're seeing with the change in government. This country can see 3 times at least a change in government. We are seeing the second part or first government, I would say right now. It's going to be prolonged. There can be elections again, and then one more sort of elections or whatever you call it, right? So I think I did cover the Russia, China, Singapore thing, yeah, and then the interfaith marriages, and then again moving back to my point around US and Canada. I'll try to cover in a separate video again as I speak. And then specifically around India, there could be a prolonged unrest and period of instability in the northeast region of India, more specifically around West Bengal, the bordering country Nepal, and Jharkhand that we see. The chicken's neck, which is called the Siliguri in northeast corridor of India, which is sort of gateway to the northeast of India. Again, we see a lot of risk there, again from March to November, and specifically around May 2025 timeframe. So these are the things I would, say as a prediction for 2025. I hope you like this video. Thank you for watching. Namaste.